We're going to be talking about a book that's been released by well, several writers actually, basically in stores at MPH. MPH actually sent out a call to submit stories. It's a collection of short stories. That was back in 2007. So after a year of vetting through all the works, finally the compilation is ready, and it's called Urban Odysseys KL Stories. Very nice cover, a bit of naive art going around over there. And we have the privilege to speak to three of the writers right here on set today. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Karina Baharin, Yusuf Martin and Daphne Lee, all three writers in their own right. Karina, having contributed to a former high school yearbook. Very true. And of course, there's a few others as well, publications, I'm sure.
Well, no, mainly the yearbook.
Mainly the yearbook, right?
Too many years ago.
I'm going to have to take a look at this high school yearbook. Also, we have Daphne Lee over here, who's right now residing in Kuala Lumpur after travelling the breadth of Peninsular Malaysia. Yes?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, really? That was just in the stories? It's so realistic, I believed it.
But you thought it was autobiographical?
Almost. Maybe I shouldn't be saying that. That's not so nice. And also, Yusuf Martin, residing in Perak, but who's travelled KL extensively as well. And thank you very much for your story submissions. And first of all, what's your first impression when you received the call and you wanted to submit the story, Karina?
Oh, I've actually never really done anything like this before.
Right.
But I thought, okay, I mean, for once there's a submission that is asking for stories about KL, and I thought, okay, let's give it a shot. I mean, I've lived in KL all my life, so I should be able to do a story. Yeah, that's right.
All right, and it's actually Karina's story. It made the first story in this book. Achievement! There you go. Pat me back, please. And Daphne as well. A little bit of background and why.
Yeah, actually when the call came out, I told the editors that it's horrible to have to write to order. You know.
And to have limits on what you write?
Yeah, so I didn't really want to submit. I thought, well, you know, but I happened to write a story one day and I sent it to Janet, the editor, and she said, actually this story might work for the collection.
All right.
So, yeah, there you
go. And you just submitted one story and it was accepted?
Well, actually, there was another that she had read that she said wasn't about KL. So, you know, but the story that was about KL, thankfully got accepted.
Good stuff, good stuff. All right, and Yusuf, who's now, who prefers living in the countryside in Perak. Yeah? All right, I mean, of course, formerly from Britain, who's now, you're considered Malaysian already lah, you stay in Perak. But his story is pretty, I'd say, contemporary. It's about Mat Rumpit. And you hardly look like a guy in a small helmet and tight jeans. You know,
I hide it well.
Very well. Really, it must be the shade and the goatee a little bit. But what possessed you to write a story about Mat Rumpit? I know it's stories about KL, but highly unlikely,
I have to disagree with Daphne on this.
All right.
I actually like to write to order. I like someone to set up some theme to write to.
And barriers and borders.
And when this title came up, the idea that it's KL stories, I thought, this is wonderful, because now I have to focus. I have to focus now. What do I know about KL? I have stepsons, and they both have motorbikes.
Oh no, father's nightmare.
You put the two things together and you come up with
the story about the Mat Rumpit.
Exactly.
All right. So it wasn't through general experience of burning the asphalt. No.
Not for a very long time. And that's a secret.
That's off the record. That's off the record. All the way on live national television. It's okay. No, I see that difference as well between the male writers and the female writers in this particular book. Not to be a chauvinist, but Yusuf said it all. The men prefer certain borders so that they can focus, while the women prefer to roam free and skirt around the issues. But then again, still hitting it.
Oh, I don't know. I think I'm going to beat him up after this.
I am in trouble. So please, Mom, if you're watching and I don't come home,
Save him now.
it's Daphne and Karina, that's for sure. All right, your particular story, Daphne, is about a lady living in KL all these years, but with her head up in the clouds. That's just to sum things up. Am I right or am I wrong?
Well, the story really is about a woman who has lost the plot in her life. And her inability to find her way around KL sort of symbolizes this, you know...
This rut in her life.
Yeah, this rut in her life, and not being able to focus on what needs to be done, you know, in her personal life.
Well, if you tell a little bit more, then you spoil the story.
Yes.
So, all right, we'll just keep it then, then and there. And Karina, who's opened up this particular book with a ghost story. Are you a big horror fan?
Actually, I'm not. I don't
That's
watch
surprising because when you read the first story, you get your serial feeling, you know? Honestly, so where did you come with the idea from?
Actually, someone told me long ago about a real case of a woman who was murdered and
In Kuala Lumpur?
in KL,
Alright.
and was found, in pieces on the racetrack.
On the racetrack.
That's right.
I read the story actually.
Yeah, but that's where it stops. That's where the reality
And
stops.
that's where your poetic license comes in.
Yes.
Basically, all right.
Yes.
So basically, it's the protagonist, of course, speaking to the ghost of this particular lady.
Yeah.
With very, very interesting consequences as well. So, for those of you who love reading and those of you who are in transit, those of you who are on long rides, this is probably the best or the perfect book for you. I mean, it's a collection, an amalgam of different perceptions of Kuala Lumpur, and especially if you're living in an urban city, it doesn't matter if it's Kuala Lumpur, if it's in Penang, if it's in Seremban. Why are you living in Seremban? You should be in KL. But they'll pick up this book, very, very interesting reading. And well, just one last question to our writers as well. What would you expect readers to sift out of this particular book? A total revelation, maybe.
Total revelation. Well, I think it's just the variation in lives in a city, in KL. And perhaps the other thing that I would like people to take from this, the short story. How perfect the short story is for easy digestion.
Excellent, excellent. And it absolutely is. As far as these writers are concerned, you get your fix all in several pages out of a whole. It's quite thick, actually. All right, Daphne.
It's also quite nice to see contemporary writing of Malaysia, because I don't know about Karina and Yusuf, but I'm so tired of reading about Malaysia back during the Second World War, the emergency,
1800s.
Japanese occupational. So it's really nice getting that contemporary feel of KL and the Klang Valley. Yeah.
Well, we've only had 50 years of independence after all. So do you feel that collectively the writers of Malaysia have evolved since the World War days and writing about this stuff? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think so. In the last few years, you've had people like Preeta and Tash Au and Tan Tuan Ling. They've got international acclaim now. They've received international acclaim.
And then this book?
Yeah, well, I think
Yeah.
that's had an effect on people looking at local writers and saying maybe there is some quality there that we need to be unearthing.
All right. So when are your respective novels coming out? That's the next question.
Watch this space.
We'd love to have you. So honestly, we would. A whole plethora, maybe a 10-parter on Mat Rumpit.
Yeah, if anyone is watching out there who wants to give funding to writers,
Lots, please.
I thought you guys get paid tons.
No.
That's why I was. No, it's not true. You
well,
should
we all
represent
have
it.
our regular jobs, so it's quite hard sometimes to find time to write.
And be a professional writer and have the returns as well. All right, we do hope that this industry will continue to thrive as well, especially with the presence of great writers such as yourself. Now, the good thing about short stories, especially this book, is some of them might hit you just then and there. Some of them you might take a bit of time, but the mark of a good writer, I do feel, is at the last page of the short story, at the last paragraph, you go, oh, that's good. So this is something I definitely would recommend. And we're going to go for a short break. Thank you so much once again, guys, for coming on. Much appreciated. And good luck to all your efforts as well. That's second edition of the High School Yearbook. I want that.